lots of money and have lived an amazing, opulent lifestyle. How did I do that? And this woman says it must be my greed. Well, let me explain. Around the world and America, we have free enterprise. The way one makes money, and there's virtually 3 ways a person can make money in this world. Number 1, you inherit it. You didn't do anything. You're a trust fund baby. You just inherit the money. Kennedy's, royalty, etc. You're just born into it. Well, that wasn't me. Number 2, you're a criminal. You're a mafioso. You're a major drug dealer, Pablo Escobar. You're some Russian gangster. You're some virtual underworld criminal thief who is committing illegal activities that are illegal against the law. You're circumventing taxes. You're circumventing the law, and you're involved in some criminal enterprise, and you make huge amounts of money. And listen, nobody wants to talk about that, but that's the fact. There's a lot of people, and I know them, that have made hundreds of millions of dollars in illegal activity. The third way is through business. It's through business. It's through entrepreneurship. It's through intelligence, working hard and using your mind to create your dreams. The majority of people fall into this category. Now, in this category, there are 2 groups. There are those who have an unfair advantage, and there are those who do it ethically and honestly. Those who have an unfair advantage are the bankers. These are the guys who pay off politicians and make their money in legitimate businesses, but they're either defrauding the public, like Gerber, when they say, here's our product, and they're making you think there's juice in it from all these fruits. I talked about this yesterday, but there's not. Or the Quaker Oat people. They're criminals because even though it's entrepreneurship, they're defrauding you. It says strawberries and cream, peaches and cream, but there's no peaches or strawberries in the product. So they're defrauding you. And most big companies do that. They actually defraud the public. They lie, they cheat, they steal, but they do it virtually on the cusp of the law. Then there are those who offer a good product or service, 100% refundable, and they deliver what they promise, and they deliver more than they promise. And I believe I fall into this category. I have started businesses since I was 15 years old, and business is real simple. You start a business, you produce a product or service, and you sell that product or service to a customer. You give what you promise, you deliver what you promise, and you deliver more than you promise. If you don't deliver what you promise, or if you don't deliver more than you promise, the people will sue you, they'll stop buying from you, and you will not prosper and succeed. In order to stay in business, you must deliver what you promise. If you want to prosper in business, you must deliver more than you promise. For me to prosper in business for over 25 years, I launched the Golf Channel in the UK. I launched a shopping network in the UK called Shop America. I launched an entertainment television channel in the UK called UTV. I had manufacturing plants in China, advertising and marketing companies, telemarketing companies, teleservice companies, consulting companies all around the world, all offering products and services to people. I've written books. That's a product, and I've offered it to people to buy. I've delivered what I promised, and I believe I've delivered more than I promised. The evidence is clear. The people who bought my products overwhelmingly love those products and continue to buy products from me. You can't make everyone happy all the time. Example, some of you bought an iPhone on AT&T. They sold a product and a service, a phone and a cell service. And many of you, it's estimated 40%, who own the iPhone on the AT&T network thinks the AT&T network sucks. They think they were screwed. They think I bought the iPhone, but the service is not what they promised. They didn't deliver what they promised. So that's why people are cheering, because Verizon now is offering the iPhone as well. Because people think that Verizon offers a better product or service. But they had a monopoly, so you couldn't go anyplace else. Some people bought an iPhone and said there are glitches in it. They're upset and they're angry. Some people go to a restaurant and pay big money and go, I think I got ripped off. And then they don't go back. And the restaurant fails and goes out of business. So in answer to this person's question, how did I live this opulent lifestyle my whole life? It's because I've been in business. And it's because I've offered products and services and delivered what I promised and delivered more than I promised. Folks, you can't stay in business for 25 years and have repeat customers coming back. If you have a restaurant and the majority of your customers are repeat customers, nobody can say that the food sucks or the value is not there. Because if that was the case, nobody would be coming back to your restaurant and you wouldn't continue to prosper. There's an old saying, you can shear a sheep every year, but you can only skin it once. In business, if I skinned you, if I defrauded you, if I gave you something that was less than I promised, you wouldn't buy from me ever again, any of my products. If a restaurant did that, you wouldn't go back to them. If a company sold a product that you didn't like, you wouldn't go back. So the only way you can stay in business is deliver what you promise. The only way you can prosper in business is deliver more than you promise. So in answer to this question, folks, that's how I develop my wealth, my income, my lifestyle, by being in business. It's entrepreneurship. And then taking that money and shrewdly and intelligently investing that money over the years. And I've invested my money in real estate. I've invested my money in stocks, options, futures, and Forex trading, currencies. I've invested my money in precious metals, silver, a lot in silver, and made a huge return on that. And in gold, and made huge returns on that. I've invested in businesses. Some failed and some did very, very well. I invested in one business, for example, $10 million, and it failed. I lost $10 million. I invested in another business, $500,000, and it turned into $50 million. I was on the front page of the Wall Street Journal in a company in 1996. In 18 months, they estimated I made $35 million on my investment, my minimal investment. I netted $35 million. That's what the Wall Street Journal said. So with that money over the years, that's how I have the ability to do this radio show and not get a paycheck. That's how I've had the ability to pay my legal bills as I fight the government. And that's how I've had the ability to live the lifestyle that I choose to live. There is no right lifestyle. Everyone chooses their own. I have a good friend, Eric Plattenberg. We were talking about wealth. And he says, my choice is not making $100 million. My choice is being free, not tied to an office, being able to travel whenever I want, wherever I want, for however long I want. If I want to go to Argentina for a week and decide to stay there 3 months, I want to have the freedom to do that. And he lives his dreams. He doesn't have $100 million, but he has the lifestyle he wants. So we all choose what we want. There is no right and wrong. Now, with that in mind, if you want to start a business, I would encourage you to do that. I would encourage you to start a business because that's the only way you can really achieve success in life. You must own your own business. If you want to achieve success, you got to own your own business. You got to. Now, what businesses are out there? Well, think about it. There's only a few options here. Either A, you start your own business from scratch. That takes a lot of money, a lot of time, and you're not going to make a profit for 5 years or more. That's the majority of cases. Also, the statistics are clear. 75% of all new businesses go bankrupt in the first 2 years. So there's a big risk. Next, you can buy a franchise. Franchise have a much, much higher chance of success. But you don't start turning a profit for 2 to 5 years in a franchise. But it's much easier to be successful. But the income you make, you can't make tens of millions of dollars. You're virtually buying a job. You must work there in order to make a living. Some franchises, you only can pull $50,000, $60,000 a year salary. Some of them you can make maybe $100,000 to $150,000. Very few franchises will allow you, in effect, to make more than $150,000 a year, and you're putting in 50, 60 hours a week. But you own your own business, your own boss, no problem. You can also make money being a real estate investor. Ooh, that's a little bit shaky because God knows where real estate's going. I think the real estate market's going to continue to go down this year, maybe even next before it flattens out and then be stuck for a while before it goes up. So yeah, you can still make money in real estate, but it's tricky. It's hard. Buying real estate with no money down is tricky and hard. And you don't start making a profit for at least 2 to 5 years. Next, you can be a trader. You can trade stocks, options, commodities, or currencies. So you can trade every day. Well, you can. That's gambling. You're working for your money because if you don't trade in any given day, you don't make a money. So you're not developing any residual income, no passive income, but you can potentially make a lot of money. Unfortunately, you can also lose a lot of money very quickly. It's like going to Las Vegas. Very, very tricky. The estimates are 90% of all non-professional traders lose all their money. So that's pretty tricky. What else is there? You can do an internet-based businesses. Internet-based businesses don't take a lot of money. You have a little bit of a risk. You don't need a lot of experience. You don't have to put in a lot of time. There's great opportunities in internet or home-based businesses. Fantastic. Finding the right one. Maybe it's setting up some business where all businesses on the internet, by the way, you have to sell a product. You have to sell a product or service to a customer. So setting up a website, finding people to go to the website, figuring out ways to market to people to get them to go to your website, making the website compelling for your product or service and getting them to buy. Good idea. There's some other ways you can make money on the internet. Maybe it's buying and selling on eBay. Not a bad idea as well there either, although no residual income. And then, of course, there's other home-based businesses, direct sales businesses, or network marketing or MLM businesses. Good idea there. Although people say 90% of people who join network marketing companies never make any money. And that's absolutely true. 90% of people that join a network marketing company never make any money. And also 90% of people that join a network marketing company never do any work. So of course they're not going to make any money. In network marketing, if you want to make money in that business, let me tell you the realities. The realities are you must put in 10 to 15 hours a week, every single week for at least a year, and probably 2 to 5 years. Number one. Number two, network marketing, when you talk to people about your product or business opportunity, the majority of them are not going to get in. And those who get in, the majority of them are not going to do anything. That is the reality. Some of you have networks where it'll be even higher because unfortunately your friends, relatives, neighbors, and work associates are all loser mentality. So you may have 95% of the people, or even 99% of the people in your network won't get in. And 99% of those who do get in won't do anything because they're not successful right now. And then somebody else, let's say he's a chiropractor or a real estate developer and he's successful. Well, guess what? His network of friends, relatives, neighbors, and business associates are all success oriented. So maybe half of the people that he talks to will get in. Where if you talk to your friends, 99 won't get in. You with me? So he may have a much higher chance of getting people in because he's dealing with success oriented people. But either way, you can still be successful. The facts are this. For those people who put in 10 to 15 hours a week in a network marketing opportunity, for one solid year, virtually 100% of them are making good money. And if they do that for 2 years, virtually 100% of them are making $100,000 a year. These statistics come from the Direct Selling Association and the U.S. Department of Commerce. So this is real stuff. And network marketing gives you an advantage because it can give you residual income, which means money comes in month after month after month, even if you're not working. Plus, it gives you the ability to make huge amounts of income without investing a lot of time or money. So you choose whatever you want, and you don't have to do any of these things because if your idea of success is just being with your family and cooking pies and working in your garden and living in a nice small little home and you don't have to make a lot of money, there's nothing wrong with that. I salute you and I respect you, and it, as long as you're happy, then whatever your dream is, whatever it is, go for your dreams. All right, I got another article here that came in from a comment. This was a comment that was written on our website by the president of the Corn Refiners Association. I guess they listened to the show. So I want to read this. Brandy, we should I don't even know, is this Adria or I don't know how to pronounce the first name. I don't know if it's a woman or a man. We should get him or her on our show. I'd like to interview. Here's what this said, because you've heard me talk about high fructose corn syrup. Here's what the president of the Corn Refiners Association said. And I'd love to have this person on